New at 11, a legal maneuver in the Antioch Police Department text messaging scandal. Civil rights lawyers have sent a letter to the DOJ and California's U.S. Attorney Office requesting they investigate allegations of civil rights violations.
There's a particular federal statute that says that the Department of Justice can come into a department and investigate it if they have reason to believe that discriminatory law enforcement practice is taking place based upon race, gender. In this case, we have not only race, but we have homophobic, we have anti-Semitic, and clearly against black and brown people.
And we begin in Antioch, where the police department is now facing calls for federal oversight. Good evening, I'm Ryan Yamamoto.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. This all stems from the federal investigation that revealed racist and homophobic text messages sent among officers. More than 40 officers are currently on leave.
And one person urging the feds to step in is a prominent attorney representing community members who are suing the department. He spoke to our John Ramos with what he wants to see happen.
The racist texts, uncovered by accident by the FBI in a federal drug case, sound like something from the Jim Crow South, with officers happily bragging about injuring black residents and openly referring to them as the N-word in group text lines.
It's the attitudes that they have toward the people they were serving. Is that if you called, and the woman may be called a water buffalo or something, or the chief, and others are called black gorillas and all. Aside from the N-word, which are kind of routinely, as one officer says, we say that routinely and no one cares. So my effort here, aside from the lawsuit itself, is to take control of this department, revamp it, reorganize it, and essentially provide a new direction for the department. The community deserves it.
In the early 2000s, a group of cops known as the Riders were terrorizing the black community in Oakland. They were acquitted of criminal charges, but Burris's lawsuit in that case paved the way for federal oversight of the police department that exists to this day. But he says as bad as the Riders were, even they weren't as openly racist as what has been going on in Antioch.
We did have racial profiling, which was different, but even that didn't have the name calling. You didn't have the verbalness that went along with it. So in this sense, it's much more horrific in Antioch in terms of its impact and its relationship with the community itself. Whatever the Justice Department can do, private lawyers can do it as well. Like me, we could do it as well. The problem on it is easier if you have the power of the federal government behind you, as opposed to me.
Civil rights attorneys say for too long the Antioch Police Department has had a pattern and practice of discriminatory, unconstitutional policing.
The time has come for major intervention, and this is what I'm asking.
In this 4-page letter to the U.S. Department of Justice, civil rights attorney John Burris calls for an investigation into the Antioch Police Department, all for what he calls a sustained pattern and practice of racially biased policing.
It's a department out of control. There's no accountability here, and the people who are supposed to control the officers, the sergeants and lieutenants and the captains, hell, they participated. You can't get real change with individual cases, but you can do it if you have pattern and practice, and you have the immature of the U.S. government saying, you are going to do this, and you must do it.